it's more problematic for reviewers as it is for.
They shouldn't have a problem with it. Tell them to speak to me. I will tell them how to deal with it.
I'll send them all your way.
I'm speaking with Kieron Berry from Bang Bang Firecracker, and I have to ask, Kieron, do I call you Kieron or Kay or Kai?
However you feel. Usually it's Key, K-I as in
well,
key.
I was reading it as Key, and I thought, well, maybe it's Kai. I mean, I wasn't 100% sure, and I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I didn't want to say, hello, Key, and it be Kai, or, you know. But you are the lead guitarist and vocalist from Bang Bang Firecracker, which I've got to say, I keep thinking of Bang Bang Cauliflower when I hear that.
Cauliflower?
Have you heard of Bang Bang Cauliflower?
Oh, as the dish?
Yes.
Yes.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Like spicy cauliflower?
Yeah, really nice.
It could be. It's not quite as rock and roll as a name, though, is it?
But it's a good dish, though. So you're a trio from Stoke-on Trent. So
yes.
Have you always been a trio?
No. We were a four-piece to start with. We went through a couple of different guitar players.
What did you do with them?
We just struggled. Just to get the sound, obviously, with two guitar players has to be so in sync. And we tried and tried and tried. And then we didn't want to try again. So we stuck as three. We were musically tighter as a three-piece. It meant that the songs were jiggled around because the songs were written for two guitar players. So it took a bit of coordination. But we just relearned things and rearranged things to suit a three-piece. It's more room on stage and a tighter sound. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Well, you've been known as, or being described as, arguably one of the hardest grafting bands on the circuit. So why is that? Is this something that you describe yourself as, or has somebody else come up with that and said that you're really hardworking? This is how we should know you.
Yes, yeah, but basically throughout the lockdown, I think whereas a lot of bands took time out and bits and pieces, or struggled to rehearse, or certain rehearsal rooms closed down for obvious reasons, and others cracked on, we always managed to find a way through. So we utilised that time
bravely.
Yeah, absolutely. We wrote, we recorded. I think throughout the whole of the lockdown, we maybe had 2 or 3 weeks off, and we just always found a way to get together, albeit remotely sometimes, or in and out of varying studios as things opened and closed. And then with the gig side of things, we always work as diligently as we possibly can. We put as much music out as we can, releases, videos, interviews, all of that kind of thing. So we're always
always on the go, always busy.
Yes.
It's the best way to be, really, isn't it? So let's talk about how you started out. So this is your baby, really. So it's a solo project. And
it started as a solo project. Yeah. There was never a plan to take it into a live band. Yes. Yeah.
But it all came about from you being on tour with Chris Holmes in 2017. So tell us all about that, how that all started.
Okay, so I answered an advert on Facebook, which came to me via a lady called Vicky Ridley, who has a lot to do with bands at Trillions. Don't know if you know Vicky.
Yes. So Bloodstock.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I answered an advert basically asking for a depth guitar player, a guy to learn. Yeah. I didn't even know who the band was, but a set of songs and go out on tour for 2 weeks supporting Chris. I've always been a massive fan of Wasp.
So Chris, in case people don't know, was the founder of Wasp, guitarist.
One of the founding members, along with Blackie Lawless.
Yeah.
So I answered the ad. I got the job. I went out on tour. It was something like 15 dates. I did as a support band to Chris, but obviously I got to spend a lot of time with Chris, and we shared stories. He told me a lot of the background of things that happened with him and Wasp, and how Filthy Phil Animal Taylor actually encouraged Chris Holmes to release his solo music. I found that story very encouraging. And after not writing my own original music for many years, I put pen to paper literally as soon as I got back and started writing songs. That was the catalyst for the entire project. Like I said, it was going to be a solo project, but we enjoyed the process of recording so much that we couldn't not ignore the encouragement that we were having at that point in time. And we pieced a band together and just thought we'd give it a shot, and what we got to lose. If Chris Holmes could come back and do it as his solo project after all of his run of bad luck and things, then, you know, why couldn't I do it? I was on the road with Chris, so I felt I deserved that opportunity as much as he did.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you find the other musicians to form the project with?
My bass player, Marcus Wrench, I was previously in a covers band with Marcus. Like I say, I'd done a couple of original projects, but sort of back in the late 2000s, 2008, 2010, and just had a go at that. For one reason or another, those bands sort of disintegrated, as most bands at a lower level do. So I was just doing covers locally in Stoke-on Trent, where I'm based, with Marcus, my bass player. So I got Marcus in to do the recording sessions for the album, and then we went through a handful of drummers over a period of time, and we finally found a guy called Bobby Ansell, who anyone that's seen Bobby live knows he's one of the hardest hitting, most energetic, enthusiastic drummers you'll see. He's absolutely fantastic.
I've not seen him live, but I have seen him on your music video, which will come on to shortly.
He's always got his arms. He hits his drums from about 10 feet up in the air. He's a monster.
I do like an animated drummer. I really do.
He's very animated.
What you want? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you released several releases, an album, EPs, but we're going to talk about what you are releasing or due to release. So you've basically completed the final piece of a trilogy album. So this is part 3 of 3. Yep. It's called Speak Evil. So this is going to be released on the 30th of December this year. And just so people know, parts 1 and 2 are See Evil and Hear Evil. Now we've got Speak Evil. Yes. So a lot to unpack it. This is a 4-track EP. So tell us about the EP and sort of how it follows on from the other 2.
Okay, so as I was mentioning before about the lockdown, what we decided to do was, so as a band we could stay as active as possible. Instead of going into a studio for weeks and weeks on end, writing and recording, what we'd do so we could stay active, we'd release our album in 3 parts. So what we'd do is we'd go in to a studio when it was open, when we could, and just do these tracks one at a time. It allowed us to focus more on the individual tracks. It also allowed us to develop as a band over a much longer period of time. So we weren't capturing 3 weeks of our moods and of our craftsmanship and what we were doing. This was written over months and months and months and months. So it gave us a lot of time to rehearse the songs. And so we'd record 3 songs over a period of time, and then we'd release that as part 1. Then we'd record another 3, release that as part 2. So I think the first one came out in something like June 2021. And then it was in the early part of 2022 when Hear Evil came out. Speak Evil's all recorded and ready to go. I actually received the CDs last week. So that's so the release date for that, we decided we'd do that in the holidays where people have more time to maybe pay attention on social media. So that one's coming out at the end of the year. So yeah, so it was just a process where we could stay active, we could gig, we could make a much bigger thing of the PR. So instead of having a single album release, one hit, we actually get 3 cracks of the whip with the PR. We got 3 chances to get into the magazines, 3 chances to decide what videos we were going to do. We just thought it was a different way of doing things, changing with the times.
It's a very clever way of doing things, I think.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah,
yes.
It is, for the reasons you said. And so you basically released an album in phases by having 3 EPs, which you're going to be re-releasing them next March as a full album.
Yes.
So do you have a title for that album? Are you going to just sort of put the names together?
I think it will just be called the Evil Trilogy.
Evil Trilogy, perfect.
Of See Evil, Hear Evil, and Speak Evil, but the 3 EPs will be remastered. There may be some bonus material on there as well, and that will give us a fourth opportunity for PR and to make the releases as big, and to try and get it into the major press, which is something that we're trying extremely hard to get the likes of Metal Hammer and even the bigger radio stations, Total Rock and people like that involved and excited about the product that we're putting out.
I want to talk about your video, Unleash the Devil. I watched this video. It was fantastic. It's long, so it's over 7 minutes long. It's quite epic. Tell me about it. Was it you that was sat there with the dark-haired devil, she-devil, touching your face and drinking wine and whatever you were doing? Was that you?
That was me, yeah. That was my
you? Yes, I thought so.
My first attempt at starring in a video.
What was that like?
That was great.
I bet it was. It looked like you were having fun anyway, in a devilish kind of a way.
Yeah, we collaborated with Phonic Official, hashtag Phonic Official on Instagram. She's a model and an Instagram.
Yeah, there were 2 of them, weren't there? There was the dark-haired lady, and then there was a blonde and pink. I think it was pink. 2 of them. I was wondering sort of how you found them, where you found them. Did you do an internet search, or Devils for video or something? I don't know.
Yeah, Jessica Boothroyd, the girl with the dark hair, she's my girlfriend.
Okay.
She's also our official band photographer.
Really?
So Jess is always extremely supportive and incredibly helpful with everything that we do. Yeah. She's heavily involved in every aspect of PR and promotion, and she's always there to sound as a sounding board. And like I say, Phonic, Francheska, her name is, but Phonic Official on Instagram. She was actually in the first video that we ever did when the band was still a solo project, a track called Hellbent for Pleasure. She was one of the dancing girls on that. So you can see the transition of Francheska between those 2 videos as well. So it was nice to get her involved with a more serious role as well. She really enjoyed the acting side of that video.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it looked like you're all having fun anyway. So very, very good. Your style of music, which we haven't touched on yet, is definitely more towards the metal side than rock, I would say. So who would you say your influences are? Because from listening to music, I've got in my mind who I think they are. You tell me who they are.
Yeah, this really is a bone of contention. If that's the correct phrase.
It's not metal at all. It's something completely different.
Yeah, we've there's been a lot of debate between ourselves and certain reviewers, and it's been very difficult to try and because everybody feels the need to categorize a band now and pigeonhole, and everyone has to be part of a genre. So when I wrote out the album Welcome to the Slaughterhouse, what I wanted to do with that was to firmly place the band on exactly on the line between hard rock and heavy metal.
Yeah.
So I wanted us to be able to get onto shows, if you like, and it wouldn't matter whether we were supporting a thrash metal band or or a hard rock band or a punk band.
Yeah.
We could play any bill across the genres. That was what I wanted, but it's almost as if we kind of set ourselves up a little bit there, because, like I say, the reviewers have struggled so hard to place us. It's
What's wrong with them? It's not hard.
Well, I know, but for instance, HRH have banded us in with a new wave of classic rock. Would you believe?
You're not new wave of classic rock,
No,
in my
not.
opinion.
Yeah, we're
Although
more.
then there's a whole controversy, I say,
Yes.
about how you classify new wave of classic rock. Is it new bands that are emulating the classic rock sound, or is it just any rock or metal band doing any style of rock or metal?
Off the back of the new wave of classic rock, you've now got new wave of traditional heavy metal, which which technically I could understand as more being lumped in with that.
I'd say so.
I mean, we take elements of everything from AC/DC to Anthrax, say, but we just take all the bits that we like, and that between the three members, that's our fusion of what we do. So I still think we're kind of sat on the borderline, but more probably towards the metal edge now, I would
Which is
say.
exactly what I would say as well.
Yeah.
And I think as far as HRH go and their festivals, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, because you look at the lineups on most of them, and they don't actually have bands that are of that style on that lineup. So it's not just you that's happened to. I say a lot. So
we're still on the poster for Spring Break in March 2023, but in amongst a lot of other bands that are categorized as new wave of classic rock. So I think if that event goes ahead and doesn't get cancelled, very unfortunately cancelled, I think that's been postponed 2 or 3 times now, that one, then we will definitely be one of the heaviest bands on that bill, even as a 3-piece. Yeah.
But, I know loads of people that love new wave classic rock, and they love metal as well. So I don't think it will be a problem for you.
No, I think it's more problematic for reviewers as it is for.
They shouldn't have a problem with it. Tell them to speak to me. I will tell them how to deal with it.
I'll send them all your way.
Yes, I will tell them clearly how to deal with it. Right, so we're talking about your shows. You've got a headline show at Percy's in Whitchurch on the 11th of November.
Just gone. Yep.
God. I wrote my interview before the 11th of November. You had a headline show at Percy's on the 11th of November. How did it go?
If anybody's got a DeLorean, they can still make that show.
How did it go?
Yes. It was great. Percy's is a absolutely iconic venue. It's an intimate venue. It's I don't know how many capacity. I'd imagine if you had 60 people in the room, it would be heaving. There were 3 bands on, so you get 3 bands in there. The room feels half full. So it's a great gig. They've got one of the best sound engineers in the business. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head, but the sound engineer at Percy's, he's absolutely phenomenal. So that was a great gig. Our last one of the year. We start back on the 14th or 15th, I think, next year, in support of Rab Stallion, who are an original new wave, a classic rock band that's at the Tap and Tumbler in Nottingham early this year. So
brings me on to my next question. What have you got in the diary for next year?
So we're Nottingham on the 50s. Then we've been February. Red Rum in Stafford has just been confirmed. We do a lot of shows locally in Stoke and Newcastle under Lyme. We're confirming a show in Stoke at the Underground at the moment. There's one at the Rigger. In fact, I think there's 2 in the Rigger. In Newcastle under Lyme next year. Subside in Birmingham is already booked in. So one of the biggest plans for 2023 is just to expand the gigs and get out as far as we can. We want to go up to Trillions in Newcastle, Bannerman's up in Edinburgh. Birds in Grimsby. So all of those iconic venues, certainly every venue that I played with Tones back in 2017 or 2018 will hit every single one of those venues in 2020, definitely.
Good news. And Manchester as well will be on the tour list?
I've inquired, if there's anybody listening that can give us a nudge into anywhere in Manchester. I used to play Grand Central with an old band regularly. But that was through the guys in Absolver.
There. Good few years ago.
Through the guys in Absolver, Chris and Luke used to organise the nights there. That was brilliant. So SOS Festival as well. They're still heavily involved. So
you playing SOS?
We're not confirmed. No. But again, just in passing. The application's gone in, so we'll wait and see.
I'll put in a good word for you.
Yes, please. Yeah, do you know?
I'll make any promises.
Yeah.
Try my best. Yes. Okay, well, it's been really good talking to you, and I'm glad your gig went well on the 11th of November.
On the 11th, yeah, it's fantastic.
So best of luck with the last of your trilogy, and we'll keep an eye out for you for tour dates for next year. And I'm going to put all your links below, so everybody will be able to check you out, listen to your music.
We usually keep all the dates on our header on our Facebook page. Excellent. So that's regularly updated. I think there's 6 or 7 dates on there already for next year, but that gets updated every time something comes in. Yeah.
And whoever wrote your EPK really deserves high praise, because I really enjoyed reading it. It was very, very nicely put together.
That was Jessica, I think.
She did a great
job.
Did a great job. Yeah. All right, fantastic speaking to you. Have a good evening.
And you.
And I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, we'll speak again. Thank you.
Bye.
This is rock and roll, burning out to my soul. This is rock and roll. I love, I need it. Rock and roll.